Today, we are breaking down one of the most underrated fantasy horror movies out there, The House with a Clock in Its Walls. And trust me, by the time we get to the twist at the end, your jaw is going to be on the floor. So do not click away, because every single scene in this movie connects to something bigger. Let's get into it. At the very beginning of the movie, we are introduced to a 10-year-old boy named Louis Barneveld. And right away, things are not okay for this kid. He has just lost both of his parents. No warning, no goodbye, just gone. And now, with no one else to turn to, Louis is packed up and sent across the country to live with a man he barely knows, his Uncle Jonathan. The only things Louis brings with him are a suitcase and a tiny toy shaped like a snooker ball. It might look like nothing special, but remember that toy. It is going to matter more than you think. When Louis finally steps off the bus, he spots his uncle waiting for him. Jonathan is different, eccentric, the kind of person who dresses like a costume store exploded on him and doesn't seem to notice or care. But beneath all that strangeness, you can tell he genuinely wants to connect with this grieving kid. So Louis gets in the car, and the two of them start heading toward what will become Louis's new home. But here's where things get weird immediately. As they drive through the town, a church clock tower strikes 7 o'clock. 7 bells, 7 chimes. Simple, right? Except Jonathan's entire body language changes the moment that sound hits the air. His hands tighten on the wheel. His jaw clenches. He tries to cover it up and pretend everything is fine, but Louis notices. Something about that sound bothers his uncle deeply. And we are barely 10 minutes into this movie. When they pull up to the house, Louis just stares. This place is enormous, old, and looks like it was designed by someone who had never once considered making anything feel welcoming. Think Gothic mansion meets haunted attraction. It is the kind of house that makes you want to turn around and go back to wherever you came from. But they go inside. And the moment Louis crosses that threshold, we are introduced to something that defines this entire movie: clocks. Not one or two, not a collection in a cabinet. Clocks everywhere, on every wall, on every table, on the shelves, on the floor, hanging from the ceiling. And they are all ticking, loudly, together. The whole house hums with this constant, rhythmic sound that gets under your skin the longer you listen to it. And then, because this movie is clearly not done surprising us yet, a woman suddenly bursts out of a giant cuckoo clock mounted on the wall. She lands right there in the living room like it is the most normal entrance in the world. Her name is Florence Zimmerman. She is Jonathan's neighbor and close friend, and she is also, as we will discover, a powerful witch. But right now, she just smiles warmly at Louis and offers to bake him cookies, as if she did not just materialize out of a piece of furniture. Louis is overwhelmed, but he is also, quietly, a little intrigued. That first night, after Jonathan shows Louis to his room and things seem to settle down, Louis cannot sleep. Something is wrong. There is a sound coming from somewhere close, a rhythmic, deliberate knocking, like something on the other side of the wall is trying to get through. Louis creeps out of his room and follows the noise down the hallway. What he finds stops him cold. His uncle is awake, moving through the house with a lantern, pressing his ear against the walls, tapping back, listening. Jonathan is searching for something hidden inside the walls themselves. Before Louis can process what he is seeing, a massive cuckoo clock explodes into its midnight alarm and nearly gives him a heart attack. He bolts back to his room, but Jonathan saw him, and now both of them know something is happening in this house that has not been explained yet. The next morning, Louis wakes up to the sound of an argument. Jonathan and Florence are in the middle of a heated debate, their voices low but urgent, clearly disagreeing about something serious. The moment Jonathan notices Louis watching from the doorway, the conversation stops like a switch was flipped. He gives Louis a casual look and tells him not to be late for his first day of school, then turns back and closes the door. Louis is a smart kid. He knows when adults are keeping secrets. And whatever is behind that wall, and inside that house, is a very, very big one. School is rough, as it tends to be when you are the new kid who shows up in the middle of the year wearing a slightly too large coat and knowing absolutely nobody. Louis gets ignored, left out during basketball, and generally treated like furniture that nobody wanted. Then a popular kid named Tarby steps in and vouches for him. He gets Louis a spot on the team. Louis, unfortunately, is spectacularly bad at basketball. He cost them the game. But Tarby sticks around anyway, at least for now, and asks Louis to vote for him in the upcoming class representative election. Later, Louis spots Tarby practicing baseball alone at the park. Tarby waves him over. They throw the ball around, and for a moment, things actually feel normal. Then Tarby asks where Louis lives. And when Louis tells him, Tarby's whole demeanor shifts. He says the house is haunted. He says an old man died there, and the place has never been right since. Louis brushes it off at first, but then he thinks about the knocking in the wall, and his uncle searching for something in the dark, and he cannot quite dismiss it the way he wants to. That night, something happens that shakes Lewis to his core. He is sitting quietly in his room, staring at an old photograph of his parents, when his mother appears, right there in front of him. She speaks to him. She tells him that he is in danger. She tells him to find a book and a key, and to pay attention to what is hidden inside those walls. And then the clock chimes, and Lewis jolts awake. Just a dream, but it felt so real it left him shaking. Determined to know what is happening, Lewis decides to follow his uncle one night. Through the darkened hallways, past the endless clocks, through a door he has never been through before, until he ends up standing outside a room filled with porcelain dolls. And in that room, Jonathan is swinging an axe at the wall. Lewis panics. His mind goes to the worst possible interpretation. He grabs his suitcase and tries to flee the house. But the house, and this is where things get genuinely wild, will not let him leave. The stained glass window near the staircase starts moving, the colors shifting and forming words, "Don't go." A suit of armor comes to life and blocks his path. An armchair slides across the floor on its own to barricade the front door. Lewis is trapped, terrified, and banging on the door screaming for help, when Jonathan appears behind him. And Jonathan, to his enormous credit, does not get angry. He gets calm. He looks at Lewis and says, very quietly, "The house just likes you." Then he tells him the truth. Jonathan is a wizard. Not a particularly powerful one, he admits. More of an armchair enthusiast than a master practitioner, but a real, actual wizard nonetheless. And the house is alive. It has a personality, preferences, moods. It chose to scare Lewis because it did not want him to leave. In its strange way, it was trying to protect him. He takes Lewis to his study and shows him everything. Books on spellcraft, strange artifacts, magical instruments. And Lewis, who has spent his whole short life feeling like an outsider, looks around this room full of impossible things and feels, for the first time in a long time, like he might belong somewhere. He asks Jonathan if he can learn magic. Jonathan says yes. Training begins. Lewis is enthusiastic but terrible at first. Spells misfire. Nothing cooperates. But slowly, gradually, something starts to click. He makes Jonathan levitate by accident. He manages to control electricity for a brief, crackling moment before it goes haywire and zaps an armchair. But while Lewis is learning, Jonathan and Florence are growing more anxious. The clock chimes are changing. They used to ring out multiple times in a row, but lately the number keeps decreasing. 3 chimes, then 2. Florence tells Jonathan plainly, something is accelerating, and it is not good. Between training sessions, Jonathan tells Lewis the history of the house. It was originally built by a wizard named Isaac Izzard and his wife Selena. Isaac was brilliant and obsessed. He spent years constructing a magical clock and concealing it somewhere deep inside the walls of the house. The ticking Lewis hears every night? That is the clock. Still running. Still counting. What nobody could figure out was what it was counting toward. Jonathan and Isaac were once friends, close ones. They even performed magic shows together. But then Isaac went off to fight in the Second World War, and when he came back, he was not the same man. He was darker, more powerful, more frightening. He claimed he had gotten lost in the Black Forest, a place dense with dark energy and ancient creatures, and whatever found him there left a mark that never faded. After the war, Isaac threw himself into increasingly dangerous work. He married Selena. The two of them performed a ritual so powerful and so reckless that it killed them both. After the explosion, a strange key appeared, one fashioned from Selena's bones. Jonathan and Florence have been holding on to it ever since, searching for the lock it opens. Here is where Lewis makes a catastrophic mistake. And honestly, it is hard to judge him too harshly, because he is a lonely 10-year-old who desperately wants to fit in. He tells Tarby the truth. He says the house is not haunted, it is magical. He says his uncle is a wizard, and he is learning magic too. And he promises to prove it. He promises to show Tarby something that will blow his mind. That something is the locked cupboard in the hallway. The one with heavy locks and heavy warnings. The one Jonathan looked at with serious eyes and said, without any room for interpretation, that cupboard is the one thing in this house you must never open. Lewis brings Tarby home. Tarby, naturally, zeroes in on the locked cupboard immediately. And while Lewis hesitates, Tarby finds the key, opens the lock, and pulls out what is inside. An old, dark book. A grimoire of forbidden magic. Magic that reaches beyond the boundary between life and death. Magic that can bring the dead back. Lewis grabs the book and locks the cupboard before Jonathan can see them. But the damage is done. And Tarby, furious that Lewis stopped him from reading it, delivers a brutal parting shot before walking out. This is why you have no friends. Lewis sits alone with the weight of what just happened. Later, His mother appears again in a dream. She encourages him. She tells him Tarby can still be his friend. All Lewis has to do is use that book. Bring someone back from the dead. Prove himself. Nobody will even know. She sounds warm. She sounds like she loves him. But something is slightly, almost imperceptibly wrong about her. A flatness behind the warmth, a calculation beneath the encouragement. Lewis does not hear it yet. A girl at school named Rose tries to warn Lewis about Tarby, that this is a pattern, that Tarby performs friendship to get what he wants and then discards people. She offers to be his real friend. Lewis, to his detriment, ignores her completely. Instead, he goes to Tarby and makes the biggest promise of his life. He says he can bring a dead person back. That night, the two boys sneak into the local cemetery with the dark grimoire tucked under Lewis's arm. They walk among the graves, searching for the right one. And then the book begins to move on its own, pulling, pointing, guiding them toward a specific headstone at the far end of the cemetery. Lewis draws the ritual symbol on the ground, adds his own blood as the spell requires, and reads the incantation aloud. The ground begins to move. Something shifts beneath the earth. Both boys run. Lewis gets home, hides the book, and pretends nothing happened. But everything has already changed. The next morning, Jonathan goes to the doll room. The dolls, which are usually still and silent, are moving, celebrating, dancing almost. Jonathan knows what it means before he even checks. He goes to the cemetery. The grave is open and empty. Isaac Izard is back. Jonathan and Florence work in a frenzy, placing horseshoes on every door and window. Old protective magic, barriers against evil. But as Jonathan looks at the stained glass window in the hallway, it shows him something terrible, an image of himself and the people he loves, enclosed in graves. A warning, a prophecy. Lewis finally confesses. He tells Jonathan what he did. Jonathan's reaction is not calm this time. He is furious. He is scared. And underneath both of those things, he is devastated. After the argument, he and Florence lock themselves away to plan. And Lewis, guilt-ridden and alone, wanders the neighborhood, only to see Isaac Izard standing at a window across the street. At the house of Mrs. Hanchett, the neighbor, Lewis runs over immediately. He brings Mrs. Hanchett back to Jonathan's house. He calls for help, but the library door has been magically sealed from the outside. Jonathan and Florence cannot reach him. Someone knocks at the front door. Mrs. Hanchett opens it. Isaac walks in, and then he greets the woman beside him, warmly, intimately. He takes her hand, and the truth crashes over everyone like a wave. That woman is not Mrs. Hanchett. She never was. Mrs. Hanchett died the same night as Isaac and Selena, killed in the ritual as a means to an end, her body used to forge the bone key. Selena survived inside that body, replaced the woman, and has been living next door ever since. Watching, waiting, playing the role of a harmless neighbor for years. And the dream appearances of Lewis's mother? That was Selena too. She could not touch the dark grimoire herself. The book was warded against her, so she needed someone else to retrieve it. She manipulated Lewis's grief, used the image of the person he missed most in the world, and guided him step by step into doing exactly what she needed. Lewis was never an accidental participant. He was the plan. Jonathan and Florence escaped the sealed library and race through the house, but they are too late. Isaac and Selena spring a trap. Jonathan and Florence are chained and captured. Lewis is locked in a cage suspended above a pit of sharp spikes. Isaac is not entirely without mercy. He tells Lewis he can come with them to safety. He almost seems to like him, but Lewis refuses. Then Florence breaks free. She attacks Selena with everything she has, buying precious seconds. Lewis nearly falls onto the spikes, but Florence catches the cage and suspends it in midair just in time. Jonathan lunges for the bone key, but Isaac blinds him with a spell, seizes the key, and vanishes into the depths of the house. Moments later, hundreds of the porcelain dolls swarm Jonathan, Florence, and Lewis, smashing Florence's wand and hurling all three of them out into the garden. Outside, enchanted pumpkins rise from the ground and attack, wrapping their vines around the trio's legs, pulling them down. Lewis spots an axe buried in one of the pumpkins. He grabs it. He fights back, hacking and smashing until he frees himself and the others. They have 18 minutes until the lunar eclipse, and they still do not know how to stop the clock. Lewis has an idea. Since he is not yet a full wizard, the house's magic may not fully work against him. He should go in alone first. The plan is set. Florence destroys the pumpkins, blocking the entrance with a sweep of her newly conjured wand. Inside, the dolls attack again, but Florence obliterates them with a burst of violet energy. The path is clear. They split up in the basement. A giant vine creature seizes Florence and drags her away. Now only Jonathan and Lewis are left. They find the clock room. Isaac and Selena are already there. The key slides into the lock. The clock activates. Jonathan hurls a fireball. It bounces off a magical barrier and detonates uselessly. The floor fractures. Enormous gears begin grinding beneath them. Time starts moving in the wrong direction. Jonathan rushes at the clock to physically stop it, and the clock's energy hits him directly. Jonathan shrinks. He turns into a baby. An adult-faced, fully conscious baby, but a baby nonetheless. Baby Jonathan crawls directly into the gears. Lewis follows him, dodging the churning machinery. A massive gear rolls toward them both, about to crush them. And Lewis does the only thing he can think of. He throws his toy, the little snooker ball from his parents. The last thing they ever gave him. It wedges into the mechanism. The gears jam. Isaac and Selena try to override it. They pour power into the clock to force it past the obstruction. And Lewis, drawing on everything Jonathan has taught him, every failed spell and every small success, reaches inside himself and channels electricity. Not a spark, not an accident. A deliberate, controlled surge. The energy hits Isaac and Selena square on. And then something extraordinary happens. The same magic the clock was meant to use on the world turns back on them. They begin to de-age. Younger and younger, faster and faster, until they simply cease to exist. The clock goes silent. The gears stop. Jonathan becomes himself again. Florence finds them in the basement, freed from the vines. All three of them stand together in the sudden quiet, and they hold on to each other. It is over. Back at school, things are more or less the same. Tarby goes back to ignoring Lewis. The same kids who dismissed him before still look past him in the halls. But something is different now, and that something is Lewis himself. He sits with Rose. He talks to her. He lets her be his friend. And it turns out that is more than enough. At home, the clocks still tick. The house still hums. And Lewis still has so much left to learn. But now he knows the house is on his side. He knows his uncle, odd, eccentric, wonderful Jonathan, is on his side. And he knows that magic is real, and patience is real, and that grief does not have to be something you carry alone. He keeps practicing. He keeps growing. And somewhere in those walls, where a terrible clock once counted down to nothing, there is only the sound of an ordinary house, alive, warm, and waiting to see what he becomes. If you made it this far and you are still not subscribed, come on. You just sat through a full breakdown of a movie about a 10-year-old boy who accidentally resurrected an apocalyptic dark wizard and helped to feed him with a toy his dead parents gave him. What are you waiting for? If you leave without subscribing and something goes wrong in your life this week, that is between you and the subscribe button. You know what to do. And drop a comment below. I want to know, did you catch the moment when Selena gave herself away? Or did the twist completely blind you? Tell me exactly where your jaw dropped. I will be reading every single one. See you in the next one.